Looking to breathe new life into your furniture? Visit Upholstery on Broadway, conveniently located at 205A Broadway in Arlington, Massachusetts. Their complete reupholstery services have got you covered. With over 40 years of experience, they take pride in attention to detail and commitment to quality. Call 978-460-5184 for a free estimate. That's 978-460-5184. Upholstery on Broadway, where craftsmanship meets creativity. Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified as we continue through this week. Let us know you, love you, and serve you, so that we may lead others to come to know of your truth in glory in your name. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, of course, today is Tuesday. And before I continue, I wanted to actually share something I thought that was that was cute. Now, one of the things that it's important for us to understand, it's really, really important. Humor is a part of the holy life, and that's essential. In order to become a canonized saint, one of the signs is if the person had any humor. Because if they don't have any humor, which is part of who we are, if they have no sense of humor, that it is a sign that maybe they didn't have that supernatural holiness to which all are called. And one of the other signs that you see is maybe that piety and everything. Well, definitely that piety and everything and all that. But also with that humor, a good way to live in that humor. And one of the examples, of course, is St. Philip Neri, who used a lot of humor to spread the faith. Well, I happened to hear something the other night on Coast to Coast AM. Now, I should share something about that. I know there were a lot of people may not believe in aliens, and I really don't know if we've ever been visited by aliens. Although I did interview Betty, well, I did cover a speech by Betty Hill at UMass Boston. She's one of the first people declared to be abducted. That was my early days of radio, and back when I was in college, and you always end up covering those stories. Well, one of the hosts of Coast to Coast AM is a man by the name of Ian Punnett. He's a deacon. He's an Episcopal deacon. And he had a guest on, and they were talking about aliens, which is common. And his guest is John Rhodes. And what they were actually talking about is a lot of things having to do with, other things that Deacon Punnett said, he's not so sure he's there on that. But they had a great line, and this is for anyone, whether you believe in aliens or not, whether you think that aliens are actually some kind of demonic force or some kind of demonic diversion or not. I thought the line crossed all levels of humor, and I thought it was really great. And what it is I don't have the exact memory of the line. It was John Rhodes who said it. And it was that when aliens fly by the earth, they lock their doors. And I think in light of some of the issues going on in our world right now, I think that's a good line. And by the way, that's not too far off from a very interesting movie that came out, and I believe it was 1950 or 1951. It's one of the most famous science fiction movies, and it really was done in almost like an understanding of what's the word? Intervention in the world, and that's the day the earth stood still. And apparently, I remember reading or watching a documentary about this. Apparently, Robert Wise, who was the director of the movie, he also directed both the Broadway play and the movie, The Miracle Worker. But Robert Wise, he thought of Klaatu, who was the character who was played by Michael Rennie, who comes out of the spaceship. And he thought of him as a Christ-like intervention. Not that he was Christ, because it's a science fiction movie, but a Christ-like intervention. And if you look, those themes are really there. If you don't straighten up your act, then Gort will, and all the robots in the universe that are like Gort will take care of this situation. And it was that intervention. You have to straighten up your act. And remember, this is 1950-51. This is only 6 years after the dropping of the nuclear bomb or the atomic bomb. And a lot of people were concerned about an atomic war breaking out, just like right now. And so it kind of brought up that similar idea, which was basically the same type of theme, except it was well put by John Rhodes on Coast to Coast AN to Deacon Ian Punnett, who I've never met, by the way, who said, yes, when the aliens fly by the earth, they lock their doors. That would make a great bumper sticker, but I don't know if that's copyrighted. But anyway, that's a great line. So anyway, we are continuing our discussion about the wisdom of Solomon. And today's reading actually is often heard in funerals. So we're going to talk about today's reading from... You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Alston, Massachusetts, with your host, Father Robert J. Carr. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and we're looking again, as you know, this week on from the Book of Wisdom. We're in chapter 2, if you happen to be following along on your favorite daily reader of biblical readings. And what we see here is that the souls, calling that the souls of the righteous, another common translation, souls of the just. These are the righteous. But remember what we talked about yesterday. The righteous are those who are righteous in the eyes of the Lord. Because it's very easy to consider yourself righteous, but you're not righteous in the eyes of the Lord. And the ones who are righteous in the eyes of the Lord are those who are living by the Lord's wisdom. Now, there's an interesting line. If you're going through this, you'll find that the righteous, the people who are seeking to do the will of the Lord, will not have it easy. They will, as it says, chastise a little, in which every time I read that, I like to go, chastise a little? Are you serious? But anyway, chastise a little. But remember what that chastisement is, which is just the difficult times we're looking for, not this great chastisement that people are saying the world will suffer. This is the righteous. This is how the Lord helps the righteous become more righteous, because he treats them like gold in the furnace. And what is gold put in a furnace for? To be further purified. So we understand that difference, and that is the powerful message we're seeing here, that we understand that if we're seeking to be righteous, we can expect difficult times, and we find that also in the book of Sirach. My favorite reading from the book of Sirach, also in the Apocrypha, but that's my favorite reading there. And you'll find that there in the book of Sirach, that you will be going through difficult times, but have patience, because that's how the Lord makes his followers to become more purified. So it's a difficult situation. It brings back that reality of Saint Teresa of Avila, famous story, who she was riding along. She had another one who had a great sense of humor, and she's very holy, and she had a tremendous relationship with God, which brings up the other thing. Remember, the true saints were in love with God. I'm seeing a lot of people kind of, especially in traditionalist circles, kind of push this very intense terror of God, and you have to work really hard to be good enough to get to heaven, which is something that I'm sure many of the evangelicals right now are shivering every time they hear that, and rightly so. You have to work very hard to be good enough to get to heaven, and if you don't work hard enough you won't make it, and most people don't. And I know that many of the evangelicals are shivering when they hear that. No, you submit yourself to the grace of God, and you allow the grace of God to transform you, and you cooperate with it. And when I see some of this coming from traditionalist circles, what I often see is a lack of an understanding of God's grace. It's you have to work really hard to earn it. And again, I can hear the evangelicals shivering at those thoughts. No, you cooperate. God's grace, if you really listen to and read what church teaching is, and especially traditional, if you really read traditional teaching, especially St. Thomas Aquinas, that line from St. Paul, where sin abounds, grace abounds more, that God is always sending out his grace and always trying to break down these barriers to his grace. So anyway, St. Teresa of Avila, she was knocked off a horse, and she felt God saying to her, "This is how I treat my friends." And she said to him, "That's why you have so few of them." And that's how he purifies us like gold in the furnace. We're going to talk more. Have yourself a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out catholictv.com. And don't forget, the best way you can support our parish and our program is to come to the 10 o'clock a.m. Mass on Sundays at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. That's at 43 Holton Street, Holton Street, in Allston, Massachusetts. Come to the 10 o'clock Mass and join us in worshiping the Lord in Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. In Cristo vivimos. Looking to breathe new life into your furniture? Visit Upholstery on Broadway, conveniently located at 205A Broadway in Arlington, Massachusetts. Their complete reupholstery services have got you covered. With over 40 years of experience, they take pride in attention to detail and commitment to quality. Call 978-460-5184 for a free estimate. That's 978-460-5184. Upholstery on Broadway, where craftsmanship meets creativity.